Roberto Contreras grew up in Mexico City, the oldest of 6 children. He attended all boys' schools throughout his elementary and high school years, which were great fun for him. Although Mexico City had great divisions between those who had money and those who did not, Roberto was raised in a middle-class family.
I just happened to be lucky enough to grow up in a middle-class family that was going up in the scale thanks to the fact that my father, became a businessman, an entrepreneur. He went from being a professionist to being an entrepreneur, so I witnessed that.
Roberto remembers hearing his father talk about business at home and took those lessons to heart to become a success in his own right.
When we sat down at the table, he always talked about, starting a business. He always talked about being an entrepreneur, about how, having a business, you create jobs for other people, about how you don't have a boss. So no doubt my dad was the biggest influence in my professional side of my life.
Roberto married young, and in 1984, at age 20, Roberto and his wife immigrated to Houston at the encouragement of his parents who had come earlier. The younger Contreras discussed whether or not to come because they had not imagined moving to the United States, but ultimately, they decided to give it a try.
My parents moved to the U.S. Just before we did, and they were the ones that were like, you guys gotta come, and eventually, my wife and I talked, and we decided that if we didn't like it, we could always go back, but if we don't go and try it, we don't know where we're missing.
Like many who come here, Roberto had an image of what he expected to find in the United States.
I always imagined, people being nice, streets being clean, things working much better than any other place, a lot of space, and it was a big contrast, every time I saw the U.S. or I saw, things from the U.S., you didn't see as many people in the street as you see in Mexico. So, yeah, I guess just everything better.
Not knowing English, Roberto first enrolled at Blinn Junior College before later transferring to the University of Houston. At the time, UH was more of a commuter school. Roberto was married and working, so he focused on his studies rather than campus life.
I tell you what, I really wanted to get out of there as soon as possible and then start working. So I think that the biggest, influence on me starting a business so fast were, one, the way I grew up, and two, the fact that anything is possible in the U.S. And so I just believe. I just believe that if I work hard, I was going to make it.
Roberto learned several keys to success along the way. He was forced to become a salesman, although he never envisioned himself in that role, because without sales, you have no business. Other factors included building an effective organization.
The most important thing in business is to really create a team that pushes in the same direction. And that is tricky, but the most important thing about that is really the trust. Because anybody could make mistakes in business, but if you are trying to go in the right direction and you have a team that supports you, things just happen well.
When thinking of immigrants coming to the United States today, Roberto suggests that they follow the same principles that helped him succeed.
If I can give an advice to a new immigrant coming into this country, it's several things. One, of course, is be a family man. That having support from your family really helps. In my case, having support from my wife, was very, very important. From my parents was very, very important, and then having kids kind of propelled me and push me to work hard. So obviously, working hard is it is a must. But when you are coming here, you are ready for that. So if I gotta give an advice, is try to integrate.
Roberto is grateful for the opportunity to give back to the community and continue helping others. He points out that we must realize that these new residents have come to the United States because they want to improve their lives, and they must believe they can make it.
The reality is that you are coming here because it's better than where you were, and you're not entitled to anything. So if you take that approach, you're going to make it. You're going to make it.